Hi, my name is Sam Smith, and this is the Love Everything podcast. We've got episode 3 coming at you hot with Dylan Mazeka. Dylan, you were so good. The people loved you. Had to have you back for another episode, man. How you doing?
Great, man. Thanks for having me on. I'm glad the feedback was good enough to get invited back. I wasn't sure if I'd hear from you.
Dude, you were a star. We had Emily back for episode 2, you back for episode 3. Literally a fan favorite. A lot of people were saying that you had the voice of an angel. Really, really nice voice, very soothing for the ears. And just to start you off with a compliment, kind of butter you up a little bit, um, you're probably my favorite person to talk to out of all the people I've ever met in my life. So congratulations on that.
Thanks, man. When you reached out, I knew I had some stuff going on today. We're getting ready to go on vacation together next week. It was a pretty easy decision from my perspective to block the time off, take a little bit of a later lunch to make sure that we could connect.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, brother. Cool. Now people can see my ears. I have great ears. So I always like that. Um, but yeah, man. So I wanted to have you back. We got some big things coming in this episode. I'm gonna be talking with you about our next charity event. Last time I announced to you and to Emily, our listeners, that we were doing a beach event, and we had a 5K both virtually and in person. So I figured we'd do a little recap of that event to get started here, and then we'd cover some topics, and we'll finish with what we got coming up next. Sound like a good plan to you?
Yeah, man, I can't wait to hear about it. It sounds a lot smoother than the one that went on the East Coast with me and the pals.
Well, I want to start there. So you're obviously in Massachusetts. I'm in LA. A lot of our supporters are virtual. Or a lot of my supporters are in the East Coast. So I wanted to make a virtual option this year. It's our second 5K, but first year we did it virtually. And you participated, and you kind of did what we were hoping, which you got together with a group of people that you love, and did something that's kind of hard for cause greater than yourself, this water crisis. So you're living the mantra. So I love it. So tell me about your experience. And give me the tea, like what happened with you, and who'd you do it with?
Totally, yeah. So it was myself, Andrew Brank, and Patrick Brank, and Joe Ford. Jeremy did his Saturday, couldn't make it out Sunday. I wish I did it on Saturday. The weather seemed like a little bit more forgiving that day. But yeah, we got together, went down to Quincy Community College, and really just hit the track. I was a lot more jealous watching you guys run it with the beach weather, because it was about 98 degrees in the
Ooh,
sun, not a
that's
lot of
hot.
tree cover. So yeah, not a forgiving day to get a 5K in, but yeah, it was pretty smooth in general. And I think I'm coming out of it a little bit inspired. I think I would have done a little bit better if it wasn't in the sun and with the 98 degrees. But it was tough either way. So I need to make some changes just because I want that to be a smoother process. Hopefully, we'll be on the beach with you next year. But it would be a lot more fun if I could actually finish the whole thing.
Dude, that would be so awesome to have you guys in person next year. So overall, the event, I would consider it a success. We did end up raising more money than last year, so that's good. So we ended up helping about 575 people get access to clean water. We're on our way on our goal to helping 5,000. We're more than 60% of the way there now. So that's super exciting. We got about 70 participants in this event. So, yeah, more virtual than in person. We had about 15 people for the in person, a bunch of virtual, and then a bunch of people who were like, I'll leave the running to you guys. I'm just going to donate, which we'll take it.
Ben Landers.
Yeah, Ben Landers was one of those people. Shout out Landers. He's a top donor. Um, but everyone that participated, just I got to look into the camera for this one from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. Means the world to me. It's not just about helping the people, but it's really about building the community here. And so just participation or even a small donation really does mean a lot. So thank you so much, Dylan, for, you've been supporting us basically every time we've done something, you've supported it. So I really, really appreciate that. I will say, follow up from last time you were on, uh, a clip that we haven't made that I told them to make because I thought was really funny, but kind of we have different sense of humor tastes. I think the producers, the editors versus me. Um, but there was a moment in that podcast where I was like, I have no friends in LA, and you were like, you just go like in a serious voice. You were just like, "Hey man, that's really sad. I'm really sorry about that." And it was hilarious. I thought it was hilarious. When I watched the podcast back, I was like, "Clip that." They didn't clip it at all. But I even went back and asked them to clip it, and they still didn't clip it. But anyways, follow up on that. I told you we had 15 people in the in-person event. So Dylan, I probably reached out to 500 people for this event. So, we got 70 participants, so it's fine. By the way, I don't want anyone to ever feel like, if I reach out to you, ask for a donation, ask to participate, I'll never get upset with anyone for not doing it. So I just want to make sure that's clear. I think in America, we have a hard time just telling people no sometimes. But like, I just want everyone to know, this is another camera moment. Like, I'm going to ask you to donate a lot, and I am going to ask you to participate a lot. Just know I will never be offended if you say no for whatever your reason is, but I'm not going to stop asking. So if you want me to stop asking, you're going to have to ask me.
And I want everyone to know, I'm going to get the list of people he reached out to, and I will hold a grudge, and I will guilt you, and I'm not going to take the same approach as Sam, because it's going to be the same amount of volume. I won't stop asking. Totally different cadence, though. So you set them up. I'll be the closer here.
Good cop, bad cop. I love that. So I will never hold a grudge, but Dylan's his own man. So you got to answer to him if you're not donating. But I reached out to 500 people, dude. Like, just nonstop. Like, I was on my grind. Cause I'm passionate about this shit. I want to help people. I want to grow the charity. I'm investing a lot into it. I want to make sure that these things are paying off. So, working hard. I'm working really hard. But I love it. So, the whole point is I want to give you a follow up. So out of the 15 people that came in person, how many of them do you think were people that I personally invited?
15.
Nope. Guess again.
5.
Lower.
2.
Yeah, my mom and my sister. So when I said that I have no friends in LA, that is dead true. That's zero. Thank God for Josh. Josh runs a charity with me. Thank God for him, because we would have had nobody. It would have just been me, my sister, and my mom, and then the camera guy.
And I assume he didn't run, so.
Yeah, we would have had the same amount of people as are here right now filming this podcast. So, so I really want to do virtual because I kind of saw the writing on the wall with that. So I knew we needed to do that to get more participants. And then shout out to Josh. Josh is doing a really good job of kind of like building a community here in LA of people who do really love the idea of doing hard things, getting together and helping with the water crisis. So that's amazing. But I got to give Josh the credit to making the in-person event so fun. We had a blast, dude, running on the beach. My dog, Will G, was there. He ran the whole 5K with my 65-year-old mom, who got 7th place, which is pretty friggin' good for a 65-year-old lady.
She doesn't have to say how many people were there.
Yeah, I got 3rd place, so I donated $1,000 for everybody who beat me. So I donated $2,000 because Eric Bratcher and JDL Nunez both beat me. So that was awesome. And we just genuinely had like a really fun time. Like every single person, we put up some testimonials, but every single person that was there was amazing. So it was small, it was intimate, but really like we have some really awesome supporters, and I'm really excited to get to know those people more as we do more events, because they're all excited about the future ones. And also I want to give another shout out. I forgot about this. So Dylan, you were our first person to ever do a pledge, and you pledged big. we talked about this last time. You pledged, over $2,500, and that's on top of, the $1,000+ you donated before that. So that's why you're a top donor, man. That's, that's why you're the man. That's why you're here. But we had another Dylan come in on beach day and pledge $10,000.
Whoa. Well, I need to get in touch with this guy because
Yeah.
I have another pledge, a 4-figure pledge that I'll be committing by September. And if he did, 10,000, what's 11,500 to him? You know what I mean? So give me his contact info. I'd love to get in touch.
I'll get you in touch with him. But yeah, Dylan Carlos, shout out, my man. He's really excited. We'll be talking about it more, but we've got a trek coming up. He really wants to make it on that trek. And one of the things you got to do to come on the trek is help us raise 10 grand. So he pledged 10 grand by February. So he's going to be participating in all these events. And I gave him I was like, dude, are you being serious or are you just saying it? And he said, I'm serious. Now,
I don't know if you remember.
Thing.
Do you remember the last
podcast where we talked about if you pledge and you don't come through, we break your fucking legs?
Yeah, I think Emily will slander you online and then I come in over the top.
You're the muscle. I asked them to clip that too because I thought that was pretty funny. Another one just didn't happen. Didn't get the clip. But I kind of wish Dylan had seen that clip before because it's like, this is a great kid. And I mean, don't get me wrong. He's going to do it. I'm going to help him. I'm going to support him. We're going to get him to raise $10,000. We've got some amazing events coming up, which we'll be talking about today. So he's going to make it happen. But I just wish that clip was out there just so like, he saw that before he made a pledge because like, I'm a man of honor. Like, so Dylan, I'm not going to break your legs. We're going to make this happen. But if you don't come through, Dylan will break your legs.
Let's just say I'm confident, 1, because he's a Dylan, and 2, who wants to spend Thanksgiving in Traction? Because that's where this is headed.
Cool. So that's the recap. It was an awesome event. We had a lot of fun. We'll need a lot of support going into the next one. What I wanted to do is just run back. Last time we played the question game, which was basically just questions that I wanted you guys to ask me, but I just asked you guys it first instead of doing that just to make it interesting. So we didn't get through all the questions last time. We kind of ran short on time. So I want to kind of quickly just cover one of the main questions we missed, and then we'll get into the next event and announce it, and you can help me brainstorm how we can make it super successful. Okay, so I guess fuck it. I'll ask you the question, and then you won't know the answer, but then I'll answer it just like we did last time. That everyone seemed to love that format. So Dylan, why is it called the Love Everything Podcast?
Why is it called the Love Everything Podcast? Well, that's a great question. I'm definitely going to need you to answer this because when I'm thinking about it,
I will.
There's certain things that come to mind that I don't love and that I don't think deserve love just by their own nature. So why don't you peel back the onion and let me know, why we're on the Love Everything Podcast and kind of what that name means.
Okay, definitely. So, first off, Love Everything is tattooed on my. I don't think we're gonna get that. That's okay. We've got some shots of that. We'll cut it in. It's tattooed on my forearm. So I have 2 things tattooed on me. I've got Relentless on my right forearm, and I've got Love Everything on my left. And the whole idea for me is like these are reminders of what I'm trying to be. Like I want to have a relentless pursuit of my goals. But, when I'm trying to like do big things, which, I have big goals, big goals in fitness, big goals in business, big goals with this charity. I have a lot of fear, right? So I have a fear of failure, fear of rejection. Um, there's a lot of things that, make me potentially not want to take action, right? And one of the things that I've noticed through my life is that when I'm in a good mood, like nothing can stop me. Like when I'm in a good mood, I literally feel like anything's possible. Like I'm convinced, we're going to raise hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars for Nextdoor Worldwide. We're going to end the water crisis. I'm going to have the best solar business in the world. I'm going to reach all these fitness goals, climb Mount Everest, run across the country. Like these are all goals that I have that I feel very confident in. I'm like, it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. I just need to keep working and be relentless, and eventually it'll happen. And then sometimes I get down, right? We all get down sometimes. Sometimes I get down and, like for example, people make comments to me. They don't like what I'm doing, or they think it's stupid, or whatever. We all can let negativity seep in sometimes. Sometimes I get down, and what I realized in my life is that everything that's bad that I didn't like eventually was a stepping stone on a path to something that I loved. Right? So this love everything is not my idea. I got it from Ram Dass. I'm a huge Ram Dass guy. So I listen to Ram Dass every night before I go to bed. So shout out to the Ram Dass podcast. Definitely awesome. But basically Ram Dass just says like, look, if you just love everything, you're always in a good mood. And so what I'm trying to work on is always seeing, like, even when something causes me pain or suffering, or, it's uncomfortable, I'm working on trying to love that thing, because I understand that that's just a part of the process of getting to something that's easy to love. Right. So same thing, like, when you have rejection or when you do things and have these failures, like that's what makes it, when you do accomplish your goal, that much better. So like I thought when I was setting a goal to run a 3-hour marathon, I thought I would accomplish it in 6 months and then I'd be done with running, right? It's 3 years later, I've run 3:01. So I still haven't hit that goal. It's taken way longer, but I fell in love with running along the way. It's something I hated, now I love, right? So that's kind of just my philosophy. And now, like, am I great at loving everything all the time? No. But it's a tattooed on my arm. It's the name of this podcast because that's what I'm striving for. And the better that I get at loving everything, the more easy it will be for me to accomplish my goals. So that's what I'm all about.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. You need friction on your path, and I think what you're talking about there is just a little bit of friction. You don't realize how important something is to you until you kind of had to work for it a little bit. So what do you say to people who question, does Sam love waterborne illnesses?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And so now if I could snap my fingers, shout out to Emily, and waterborne disease, I would do it. No doubt about it. But this waterborne disease, or this water crisis, as you'll call it, look what it's done. It's given me something to be passionate about, where it gives my life purpose. It's helped me come together with other people to build these relationships that are really meaningful. So yeah, no, I would never wish the waterborne crisis on the world. But the fact that it's here has led to these amazing stories, has led to these amazing relationships that I've been able to build, and it's helped me find a more meaningful, more purposeful life. So it's still a perfect thing on my path to where I'm going, and I'm glad that it's here. I want to end it, but it's definitely served me well, and I'm grateful that it's something I get to work on that gives me purpose.
Some would say it's selfish, but I think there's a lot of selflessness there. So I think it's a pretty good answer. And I understand, what the podcast name comes from now.
Cool. Any other brain busters? So like, this is what I'm doing all the time. Every time I'm feeling like, oh, this sucks. It's like, no, you love this. You think it sucks, but you actually love it. And I'm like rewiring my brain so that's not just like I'm telling myself, but eventually I believe it. I'm a huge big guy into that. Like when we first started our podcast, shout out International Waters, wasn't a God guy. I've willed myself to believe in God now. Like I'm a full on faithful spiritual person now. That took years. So I can do it. It just takes time. But any more brain busters for me on something that's most people might be hard to love, but I'll still love it.
You're in a crowded elevator.
Okay.
There's some kids around. People don't know what to think, and somebody breaks wind. That's not a good situation. You're stuck on that elevator.
Okay, and then do the kids being there have any relevancy to the broken wind? Yes, they do, actually, because I'll tell you why I love this one. I love this one because the best thing about kids is they just say what's on their mind. Like, dude, I told you I asked 500 people to donate, and we got, I got like, not all 70 of those were from me. I probably got like 40, 45 people, right? So I'm under 10%. Out of those 500 people, guess how many people just said, sorry, bro, I don't want to fucking donate to your charity. Stupid. 0, right? You just get ignored or, I'll donate. It never happens. A kid would never do that. A kid would be like, I don't want to donate to that. I want to spend my money on ice cream, right? And that's fucking awesome. That's so pure. That's so beautiful. So I know that these kids, when that guy breaks wind, they're going to be like, bro, you're stinky. And that's going to be an awesome moment. That's going to be a moment of truth. And in our society, there's so few moments of truth, right? We're all like, oh, let's pretend we don't smell the fart. But the kids are going to set us straight. You can learn a lot from kids. I'm a huge kid guy. That's another thing. I used to fucking hate kids. Love kids now. So yeah, that's going to be an awesome moment. I'm going to love it when those kids mention how smelly that guy's fart was.
You don't just wear the tattoo, my man. You live it. Makes a lot of sense.
All right. I know you got to get out of here. So I'm going to just tell you what I'm doing. We've already announced our next event. So it's 100 people in a 1,000-mile challenge. And so we're trying to get 100 people to travel 1,000 miles without water. Now we're trying to make this inclusive, right? So last year it was me and 3 other guys. We did 100 miles. And so it was a pretty challenging thing to do. This year, if you want to challenge yourself, great. We've got that option, but we're making it very inclusive. So all you have to do, you don't have to donate. So it's not like the 5K where you have to register to sign up. All you have to do is you do have to register, but it's free, and just commit to 1 mile the weekend of September 10th and 11th. You can bike it, walk it, or run it, but you got to go 1 mile without water. And the whole goal of this is to spread the word about waterborne disease. And most people, when you tell them about this, a charity, any charity, you get a generic like, okay, yeah, that's so great. Change of subject, right? So when you tell somebody, okay, I'm going to be, walking or running or whatever without water this weekend, they're like, oh, why are you doing that? Now they're asking you to tell them about it. They're actually curious. And that's where we can have real conversations. And that's the biggest thing this crisis is missing. The media doesn't cover it. So we need a grassroots effort. We need more real conversations if people are actually interested in it. So that's the goal behind this event. Now, I'm all about doing hard things, right? I want to lead from the front. So I'm not going to be a 1 mile guy. Obviously, if we're going to hit 1,000 miles, we need some people to step up. So I want to kind of lead from the front. I'm going to do 50 miles without water, without bringing water. First 20 are going to be no water whatsoever. After that, I am going to allow myself to get water, but only if I knock on a stranger's door, get them to donate and give a kid access to water that doesn't have it, then can I accept water from them. So I'm going to have to travel 50 miles with no water, just counting on the generosity of people that don't know about this water crisis. So I know you got to run in a minute or two here, but just your initial thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, sounds incredibly hard. And I think you've mentioned it before. Like, this is one, get people talking about it. Like, this is crazy. There's obviously health risks. LA is known for being hot, and I don't think you'll be by the beach the entire time. So
we're going through the valley where it gets 110.
I don't go in the valley in August, man. Call me Johnny Drama. That's a no-fly zone.
Yeah.
I guess, for the people that think like, hey, this is a worthy cause, like maybe make it a little bit harder. Before you drink any water, if somebody donates it, you also have to have a saltine cracker.
Ooh, I like that. I like if you're only doing 1 mile, maybe throw a saltine in there. Bring that up. Like not only am I not going drinking water, but I'm adding saltine. I love that. So, so the only thing I wanted to add to this is people think I'm absolutely insane for doing this, but I feel like it's insane that like every hour, dozens of kids are dying from waterborne disease, and it's like not even close to the list of things that we care about. So it's like, how am I going to get people to realize this? It's like, I'm going to put myself on the line. And then when they say you're insane, now I get to point out this, and we'll see if maybe people change. So I know you got to go. I know you got a heart out, but I just wanted to see your face. You're the first person I've officially announced this challenge, this 50-mile challenge to. And I look forward to sharing the results with you.
Yeah, well, I'll be doing my part virtually here for sure. And just keep in mind, you might need to make it harder if you do get some no's from certain people. So keep it in mind. A spoonful of salt every time, a saltine cracker, just anything you can do to make it more difficult. Put it in a tickler file. Put it as a brainstorm.
All right, brother. I love you. I'll catch you later. Thank you so much for coming on. That is episode 3 of the Love Everything podcast.